What is going on, everybody? It is Ryan Heath with Fantasy Points here, and welcome back to Data Points. This is the show where I walk you through exactly how to win at DFS, how to win at your prop betting, and how to dominate your seasonal fantasy football leagues. And I'm going to do all that by using the Fantasy Points data suite. Last week, we hit big on Devon Achane, but Ladd McConkey was the only Chargers wide receiver to not score a long touchdown on a busted coverage, so a bit of a bad beat there. But nevertheless, let's get back into it for week 10. What?
Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
So data point number 1. The Bears are 6.5-point favorites against the Patriots this weekend. Why is that important? It's because DeAndre Swift has been very game script sensitive this year. So I've got our bell cow report up here, just gives you a good overview of running back usage as well as their production. So I have just put in to filter for only games that the Bears have won. And you can see here that in wins, DeAndre Swift averaging just over 19 fantasy points per game, 17 expected fantasy points per game. The workload's been very good. But in losses, if we go ahead and apply that, you can see, oh, these have been all of DeAndre Swift's bad games is when the Bears lose, right? Only 11.9 fantasy points per game, just 13.5 expected fantasy points per game. His workload is just a lot worse whenever the Bears don't move the ball. The Vegas line suggests they're going to this week. So that makes him a good start, a good pick in DFS. Additionally, we have a schematic angle here. So I'm here in the advanced rushing table. I've gone ahead and sorted by the percentage of attempts on man gap concepts for running backs. You can see DeAndre Swift has the 7th highest rate of man gap concept runs in the NFL right now. And we can figure out if that's a good thing or not by going to the advanced rushing defense table here. And we can do the same thing, just scroll over to the man gap concept, sort by yards per carry, and look at that. The New England Patriots allowing the 5th highest yards per carry average on man gap concept attempts run against them. So that's another positive note for DeAndre Swift, who I feel pretty good about this week. All right, so now for data point number 2, we are going to talk a lot about the 49ers. So they are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. Here we are in the defensive coverage matrix. And you can see here that the Buccaneers, I've sorted by rate of zone coverage. The Buccaneers play zone at the highest rate in the NFL. 82% of the time. They absolutely love it. They do it pretty much every week. They kind of never change. Also notably, the 49ers, so we're here now in the coverage matrix offense section. You can flip back and forth between offense and defense right here. Just sorting by man coverage, the 49ers have faced the 6th most man coverage this season. So seeing a lot of zone is not something that's happened as much for them this year. Why is that important? Why is it such a big deal that they're going to face a lot of zone this week? That's because Brock Purdy and all of the 49ers have been significantly better against zone coverage this year. So I'm here in advanced passing. I've gone ahead and just filtered for man coverage, sorted by yards per attempt. And I have to scroll down a ways here to find Brock Purdy for his man coverage yards per attempt, just 6.35, ranks 20th in the league. But if I go ahead and filter for zone there and hit apply, you are going to see it changes a lot. So Brock Purdy ranks 2nd in yards per attempt against zone coverage this season. And we can head over to advanced receiving and see the same thing for all of his weapons, basically. So obviously Brandon Ayuk on IR, but Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, hopefully coming back this week, George Kittle. So this is filtered right now for man coverage. You can see, okay, just all around 2 yards per route run or so against man coverage. What if we filter for zone and hit apply and see what happens? Look at that. It's going to be George Kittle up to 2.69 yards per route run. Juwan Jennings up over 3.7 yards per route run. Been so much better against zone this season. Same thing with Deebo Samuel, has kind of always been the zone beater for the 49ers, up to 2.7 yards per route run. This offense is just a lot more efficient against zone this year. Part of that is because they haven't had a Brandon Ayuk. They haven't had a Christian McCaffrey to kind of be the man beater, as well as the Chiefs kind of figured out how to shut them down and limit them a little bit, playing a lot of man coverage in the Super Bowl last year. So a lot of teams have copied that, and Purdy and the 49ers have had some issues with that. Not this week. It's going to be a lot of zone coverage from the Bucs, just as their normal lean, and also Christian McCaffrey coming back to punish any one-on-ones that the Buccaneers do try to give. So very, very bullish just on the 49ers offense in general, on the passing game. Brock Purdy is probably going to be one of my highest owned players in DFS this week. All right. And finally, let's move on to data point number 3. Let's talk about the Jets and the Cardinals. So we are here in the weekly pass rate over expectation defense report, just sorting by the pass rate over expectation allowed. If you're new to data points, then you might not know what this is. Essentially, it is just saying that for the Arizona Cardinals, their opponents are throwing relatively more than you'd expect based on the situation, based on the down and the distance. Usually that's because of some schematic tendency or because of personnel. Teams are just choosing to throw more on the Cardinals this year. So yeah, top 6 pass funnel is what we would say about the Cardinals. And then if we flip over to offense to see what each offense does in terms of pass rate over expectation, we can see here, okay, the Jets are a top 4 team by pass rate over expectation. They just, regardless of the defense, are wanting to throw the ball a lot in neutral situations. So that's a recipe for a lot of pass attempts for the Jets this week. Keep that in mind. All right, and moving over to the O-line, D-line matchups tool here, just sorting by pass grade. What this does is just kind of ranks each offense by the amount of pressure that they're likely to face from their opponent, by how well they've been or how well they've done at preventing pressure this season. And you can see that the Jets have the best pass grade in our line matchups tool because, yeah, they only allow below a 25% pressure rate. The Cardinals, just a 29% pressure rate, which ranks bottom 5, as you can see if we just sort by pressure percentage. So the Jets, to review, are going to be throwing a lot and likely will not be seeing a lot of pressure. Who does that benefit? Let's take a look. Garrett Wilson. I've sorted here in advanced receiving by only plays where the quarterback was not pressured. And you can see, okay, Garrett Wilson, top 3 in target share when the QB isn't pressured, 32% target share. Just for curiosity, let's look at when the quarterback is pressured and see what happens to Garrett Wilson's targets, to all of his production. It is going to come up here in 1 second, and you're going to be very surprised. So, oh, where did Garrett Wilson go? I'm confused. I don't see him here. Let's go ahead and search for Garrett Wilson on throws where his quarterback is pressured, all the way down to a 14.5% target share whenever Aaron Rodgers is pressured this season. So for whatever reason, if there's pressure, Garrett Wilson's not getting the ball generally. Rodgers is just getting knocked off of that. And as we talked about, that's unlikely to happen this week. So I'm pretty bullish on Garrett Wilson as a DFS play, especially. He's a very good pay up option this week, in my opinion, in a week without a lot of wide receivers that are capable of posting big scores. So that's going to do it for data points. That was our last data point. Now that you've seen kind of how powerful this Fantasy Points data suite can be, make sure you go to data.fantasypoints.com to sign up for access to the data suite for yourself. We have a standalone data suite subscription, or we have the all-in package, which will also get you access to my DFS picks and my prop bets informed by stats like the ones in this video. Good luck in week 10.